lunch and something to drink. Let's give ourselves a round of applause for getting through this too. So welcome to the new Faculty Learning Academy. I know many of you. I'm Lisa Benedictacami from Professional Development and Learning. I look forward to continuing to get acquainted with all of you as we move through these next 4 sessions together of NFLA. I see most of you have got your name tag. That's great. Please sign in if you haven't. That's how we award you the 2 hours of flex for each session. And I see many people remember to bring their books, which is great. And I see many of you brought your orientation folders. That's great. We have an extra folder for NFLA because each time that we meet, I will be giving you some handouts. I asked you to bring your orientation folders because there were a couple documents in there that we didn't quite have a chance to go over at the orientation. I wanted to give a chance to sort of take a brief look at that. And this session, as well as the next 3, really are for you, right? They're to provide you with a forum to ask questions and learn about policy and procedure. And we are going to have some discussions about pedagogy, best practices in teaching and in counseling. And this year, I shared with Dr. Schenkweiler that I reached out to 8 of our faculty who have participated in NFLA, some of them quite a few years ago and some of them quite recently. And I asked them if they, as they reflected back on their experience in NFLA, what were some of the things that they would have liked to have learned in an NFLA at that time that they did it. So we're going to be adding a couple of new things in based on that feedback. So for example, one of the faculty I spoke with said she found it really overwhelming to go from, she taught 7 classes. She taught 7 classes the first semester. I guess is that overload? And it seemed impossible. But in any case, she said that she really would have liked to have heard from colleagues on wellness. How do you manage challenges? How did you get through that first year? Just knowing that that she wasn't alone, that there are others who may be facing similar situations. I was talking with Julie and Kai, and we were talking about the dilemma. You go into class and you really worked hard to prepare, and you've got some blank faces staring back at you, right? How do you deal with that? Or your 3rd week into class, and student says, I haven't gotten the textbook yet. How do you deal with that? And you're being conscientious and you're trying to learn your students' names. So we're going to have a lot of opportunity to problem solve together and to learn from one another, as well as from our guests who will be with us. And today we're very pleased to have Dr. Schenkweiler, who will be speaking with us about tenure and evaluation a little bit later. And let's see, so just want to spend a couple of minutes talking about expectations for NFLA. So we already discussed this. You are here today, so that's great. NFLA is required. It's a provision of our contract. I would ask that you RSVP, and most of you did. The reason for that is we do have colleagues. We have someone who's not here today. She committed to going to a wedding 6 months ago, and so she's not with us today. If you RSVP, that lets me know, helps me plan with food and those kinds of things. So when you see the email come, if you can, please RSVP. That's always very helpful to us. And you do receive 2 hours of flex for each session of NFLA. So as we talked about during the orientation, you're fulfilling your flex requirement for this first year is not too difficult because between the orientation, NFLA, and some other things you've done, you have a lot of that taken care of. Now, if you do need to miss a session or a portion of a session, we do have Norman Foster. Everyone say hello to Norman in the back of the room. Who's videotaping NFLA. And we do have a Canvas site for your cohort. So if there is a portion of an NFLA session that you need to miss for whatever reason, there are a couple things that I would ask you to do. Please first speak with your division team. And I'm talking about absences that you're not teaching during NFLA. That's a different circumstance that we manage outside of these. Please speak with your dean first, and then contact our office. what happens is after we videotape the session, it needs to be edited and it needs to be captioned, and then eventually goes up on our Canvas site, and I'll send out an email with instructions. So we're going to demo this next month, letting you know that the video is available, and you need to go in there, watch that portion or that session, and you need to answer some questions. And that's so that we're doing diligence around what is a compliance requirement. I do want to make it clear that watching the video is not an alternative to attending NFLA. I do tend to get this question. It's simply to offer a situation, a contingency plan for someone who might have made a commitment, or get sick and you're not on campus. Then we have that as a contingency. Okay? Any questions about those basic expectations? No? Okay. We'll go on. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to spend some time reintroducing ourselves to one another. You were formally introduced to the campus community on Fall PD Day, which is such an exciting time for Dr. Shankweiler, myself, and many others. It's really part of the Academy with a capital A. We really love it. We hope that you enjoyed that special opportunity and the group photo and all of the things that go with congratulating you on this accomplishment and welcoming you into El Camino's academic community. In NFLA, we're a little bit more informal, and we will take an opportunity to get to know one another today, answer questions that might have come up. This year, just because of the way the calendar went, usually NFLA falls on the first Friday of the semester, but this time it fell on the second Friday of the semester. So you have 2 weeks of classes under your belt, and I'm sure you may have various questions in your mind. Sometimes I find in NFLA faculty are just really deliberate and they have questions on their mind. I've also found that faculty sometimes have things that they're kind of thinking over that this could be a concern, but I'm not really sure if I should say something. This is a really good place to ask those questions. If you're concerned about students acting oddly, you're not quite sure what's going on, please feel free to ask that question, especially when we have Dr. Shankweiler here. She may come in and out of some of our other sessions, but this is the one where she's committed to be here for you, so please do feel free to ask questions. And then after Dr. Shankweiler's presentation, we're going to do some teamwork and kind of launch into using the text that was given to you on Fall PD Day. So we're going to go ahead and start with some introductions, and I'll go first. So please share your name, your discipline, a summary of your career path that brought you here to El Camino College, and something that you are passionate about. So I have been at El Camino College for 3.5 years. I manage the professional development and learning department. Previously, I served as a curriculum development specialist at LA Harbor College for 3 years. I was working on a Title V grant. And I started in the California Community Colleges at Long Beach City College. I was a project manager on a grant. My background is in teaching, so I taught in K-12 for a number of years. I taught ESL for a number of years. My master's is in business. I taught business and higher ed. And my doctorate is in higher ed leadership and administration. So my research interests are those. I'm also very interested in equity, diversity, and inclusion efforts. My passion, I have 2 passions in life. One is education, social justice, and education. The other is my family. So I'm married to a new first-generation Japanese immigrant. My husband's name is Masahiko. We have 2 kids. They're 13 and 16. So for a while, I was reporting to Dr. Shankweiler, and I always appreciated when she was sharing things with me about her daughters and her family, because I am one of those who really exists in those 2 worlds. So that's me, my passions, and let's start with Kai. Take it away, Kai.
Hi, my name is Kai Liu. I'm in the business division under computer information systems. My summary. So after I graduated college, I spent 5 years as an IT manager over at UCLA. Started my own consulting firm for a few years. Ran a food truck, ran a frozen yogurt store. Got my real estate broker's license, did 8 more years as an IT director over at the Kuwait consulate, and that led me to want to learn, just want to teach. So I did a semester over at Long Beach City College teaching a security network capstone class, and from that point I decided I want to get into teaching. I saw a opportunity pop up at El Camino through a friend from high school who works here. Applied and got the job. Survived, the first 2 weeks of teaching, and here I am. So what I'm passionate about currently, my passion is coaching robotics for my daughter's elementary school. So right after this training, I got to head down there and coach their team, and hopefully they get qualified for some tournaments.
Fantastic.
Hi, I'm Julie Kim. I am business department and accounting discipline, and I have 17 years of professional CPA experience. Prior to joining El Camino, I was at Fox and Filipino for 9 years. I was a corporate tax specialist, and prior to Fox, I was at other corporations for my whole life. And I started my accounting career at PricewaterhouseCoopers as a tax associate. I got my master from USC. So while working on this, many years in corporate career, I didn't see myself continuing here for 30 years until retired. So kind of back down a hindsight, because I started teaching 10 years ago, I was not quite ready for retirement at that age. But I was thinking that I wanted to become a teacher, move on to the teacher path, and I want to retire as a teacher. So I kind of reached out to my network, and one of my colleagues who moved on to the full-time position in one of the colleges actually connected me with part-time teaching. And I loved it, even though after long hours of tax filing season, I managed to try to, go to evening classes, and, so I felt that was pretty rewarding. People who wanted to learn accounting, connecting the accounting contacts, which whether foreign, at times with my industry experience and my experience as accounting. So I think I see that myself wanting to continue the teaching path. So, but I did that for 10 years as an agent, and finally when El Camino opened up this position, it was perfect timing for everything in terms of the commuting distance or the phase in my life now. I have a son who goes to the elementary school. He's 6 years old, so I wanted to have a more balanced life and spend more time, be more involved in his growing years. So yeah, I'm really glad that I was able to join the team. And so because as I said, so far my life has been really spread out between the work, CPA work, and the teaching, and also taking care of family. I didn't have any devoted passion that I developed into and then something to share with. But I attempt many things. I wanted to do yoga, or I wasn't very ambitious. One time I started taking violin lesson because I love string instrument. So I bought the violin. I started taking private lesson, but didn't last very long. So yeah, definitely I'm hoping that this transition in my life will help me, continue with my passion that I truly love and spend more time with family. Also be more balanced, and also resourceful person when my student reach out to me.
Hello, my name is Hannah Malkamani. I just want a summary. I'm teaching in English, so that's my discipline. So my summary is I actually was a student here when I was 18, 19, and I graduated El Camino. I had studied journalism, so I was actually the editor-in-chief of the Student Union newspaper. But I was a student here, so I was really involved on campus, but it was when I used to work out of the communications building. We had a totally different setup. Now I go to the newsroom, and it's a lot newer. So that's cool. I came from El Camino. I went to Cal State Long Beach, where I studied journalism. I worked for a year or so, working for a local newspapers when I was in college, and they're all very South Bay based actually. When I was in college, I interned at the Daily Breeze, and I published some stuff with them, and then I worked for some of the smaller weekly papers around here. So if anyone's in the beach cities, I've worked for Easy Reader News with a beach reporter, which kind of covered most of Redondo, Manhattan Beach, I think sometimes also Redondo. So I used to write for those places, or sometimes edit for those places for a while. And I went back to school to get my master's in English with an emphasis in creative writing because I really liked literature too, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with that. And I really liked writing outside of journalism. I was really interested in writing more like literary types of work. So I went back to school, and I've been adjunct here at Santa Monica College primarily for about 5 or 6 years. So yeah, so that great. And my passion, I guess I am still really passionate about writing and the arts and storytelling, and I'm still trying to stay kind of active in that world as well.
Sorry, my name is Stephanie. I taught this morning, so I'm a little like I've come down off the teaching high. Right. Stephanie, I'm teaching English, and I graduated from Cal State Long Beach. I did my undergrad and grad there in 2010. So it was just after like the big economic sort of kind of bubble burst, and I didn't get a job for like 3 years, not even adjunct, nothing, no one was hiring anywhere. So I worked as a dental assistant, like front office, for while I was going through school and while I was going through that transition period. And then I got 3 interviews and got all of them. So I went from teaching no classes to teaching like 6 classes. So it was a trial by fire. You just throw it in. And I worked at Fullerton Community College, Long Beach City College, and then a little bit at Cerritos and a little bit at South County at Irvine and Saddleback over the years. And then up here for the whole time. And yeah, it's basically my career path. So I'm passionate about. Of course, my family. I've got 2 kids, both girls, a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I'm in a constant state of worry all the time about everything. Like everything is just one big worry. And of course, education in English. And I feel like I'm very much a generalist when it comes to. I kind of get a little bit of everything, which is one of the reasons why for my graduate degree I did rhetoric and composition, because it's really about writing academically, but also your subject matter can be anything from economics to psychology to sociology. So I kind of like that idea of reading can be the door to everything. So I'm really interested in a lot of stuff. And then so kind of general passions. But one of my unsung passions that I don't get to indulge in a lot is I'm a huge foodie. Love the good restaurants and the food, and watch Top Chef all the time and all the cooking shows. And me and my husband are both big foodies. In fact, we did a whole trip a few years before kids up to Yountville. It's just outside of Napa, and it has some of the best Michelin-starred restaurants. It's like the most Michelin-starred. We went to like each restaurant, and that was our whole like trip. So we went to the French Laundry, which is like so that was cool. So I haven't indulged as much with kids in our foodie obsession, but it's still there.
Yeah, it's great. Quick foodies.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Shane. I am an English instructor in the humanities, obviously. My career path is very long. I don't want to stay the whole NFLA explaining my career path, but basically I attended community college at a very young age, right? I graduated high school early, but then my first semester I was in East LA, and I went to Pasadena City College because a mentor of mine said don't go to the local one because it's really just a high school with ashtrays. That was a long time ago, obviously. He was trying to get me out of my comfort zone. So I went to Pasadena and I got 3 straight fails. I was not ready. I was like, I like to call myself the anti-AB 705 student. So then I got into the restaurant industry. I served, bussed, bartended, worked my way up. I was a bartender for about over 10 years. I still bartend. Bartended a wedding in October. So I do it for fun. Me and my best friend and my brother have like a kind of a company that we do, but it's not official. But it's just fun because I get to be out, and I have a young son I'll talk about. He's part of my passion part, I'll say that. But that gives me a little bit of an outlet where I can still do. I love the craft of bartending, making drinks. I make a really kick-butt, old-fashioned margarita, so maybe yeah, see Dr. Shank while they're ready for one of those. Trust me, I am too good, so I am too good. Call it my grading dessert. So I did that for a while, like I said, over 10 years, bartending, maybe even more now that I think about it. But I think at around my late 20s, I got kind of tired of I always had this passion with literature and writing. That was my initial passion when I graduated. Was either that or architecture. I really loved architecture. I took the class. I spent 10 hours on a project, and I said, I'll never do this again. But I was one of those students who was just, I could never pass math. But then in my late 20s, I found a grit that I didn't know was there. I was just sick and tired of not, and I did it. There was nothing at that point that was going to stop me. So I went to Cal State LA. I promised my mom I was going to get my degree as well. Got my degree. I didn't stop until I got my master's. And then I said, I had an amazing mentor at Cal State LA who one day in class was like, if you want the best job in the world, become an English teacher. And I did it. And from that minute, I remember texting my sister, I know what I want to do. He said, I always forget it's something in Latin, but it's basically work at play or something, right? You can play at work. Like, why not live that way? And when he said that, it kind of, even talking about it gives me chills because I got so invigorated. I said, wow, why wouldn't I want to live that life? I'm living it, right? So then I was teaching. I've been teaching for about 3 years now. I taught at East Los Angeles College. It was a really big honor to go back to my hometown and teach. And I was actually in the running to be a full-time teacher there as well. And at Pasadena City College, if you could believe that, the one that crashed and burned down. I chose El Camino. I chose El Camino because I loved it here. I love the student body. Christina Nagales, she's an instructor. She said if any of those schools, if you advance in those, she's like, you have to call me immediately. So I did call her, and she talked me into it. She talked me into El Camino, and I think I made the right decision.
You did.
Yes, I did. I have to say that now, right? I'm so ecstatic that I'm here. I love it here. It's been nothing but such a great feeling. I'm passionate first and foremost about my family, my fiance and my 3-year-old son. I just love cultivating in him what I wish I would like to be, right? As a man. We're working on our 2nd child now, so we'll see. I think that was one of the. If you get hired, we're gonna have a baby, so no pressure. So I did it. And we're gonna have a baby in this. But yeah, I'm passionate about my family, and I'm also very passionate in helping those students that were in my position when I was a first student, especially persons of color, Latinos, right? I was informed by Cynthia Mosqueda that I'm the first Latino in English ever, right? I think. I don't know if I'm wrong, but there's not a big, and that's huge for me. So I'm a coordinator in the Puente program, which I'm very passionate about. I want to get those students, I want them, especially those students that are on the cusp. I was on the cusp and I crashed through, and I want to save those students. I want to invigorate them, let them know that, so I'm big on the 87. I love that because I feel like if you're locked up in these classes and you're labeled remedial or you're labeled as deficient, which they've always been, and I know I was, they were like, oh, you have to take these extra classes, ESL, whatever. I feel that, for me, my passion is seeing those students graduate. And I always tell them, I want you to email me those pictures because that's what makes my job, that's my job, I love it. So that's my passion, seeing those students move on, get graduated, get transferred.
Fantastic. I'll just say briefly about Puente, and one of the many strengths about Camino College is we do have an amazing group of specialized programs. Puente, that I was very involved with at Barbara, I was a Puente mentor, Project Success, our honors transfer program, our first year experience program. So that might be something else that we kind of bring into NFLA a little bit more intentionally this year, is to let you know of those programs, because there may be some involvement for you as a faculty member in the way that Shane is, or you may have opportunity to meet students. We're all ambassadors of the college wherever we go, whether we're on campus or off. You may meet a student that you think would be great for a particular program. So thanks for saying something about
Yes,
Puente.
and we're recruiting mentors. So please come see me. Get flex credit, it's fun, you get free food. Stephanie, I already recruited her.
All right.
I applied.
Oh yes, so I know too. Yes, come see me, please. Yes. Using my bartender skills. Thank you. Yes. I will.
Eric, do you want to
So I'm Eric Villa. I was an alum here at Alpino in 2003. Right after high school, I started coming here, did all my prerequisites. I didn't know what I was going to do. Well, first of all, I'm radiologic technology program. The third instructor in that program. It's a 2-year program. I was part of that after I did my prerequisites. So it's 2 years here. Graduated, and then it's another 2 years for the program. So it was actually 4 years here. I was here for quite a while. I was on the waiting list for about a year. During that time, I worked in odd jobs, UPS store. I was a proctor that administers different examinations for people that want to become doctors, so on and so forth. After that, I got hired at Marina Del Rey Hospital. I was there for 10 years. I was doing radiology, X-ray. I got cross-trained in CT. And then after that, they kind of saw that I was more useful in surgery. So there's a big machine that we call C-arm. It's live X-ray. It's dynamic images. And you see a lot of blood and different operations that surgeons do. It's amazing the work that they do. And it's important for, as my job, I'm their eyes, seeing what they need to do inside the body. So it's very interesting stuff. I saw over the years that I needed to anticipate the surgeon, makes their job easier, the overall outcome of the patients increases. And so I was part of that for a long time. I fortunately had to resign so I could come here and be part of this family. I got very close to those people. I still am friends with them. I contact them regularly, and we, go out and have some fun. Hopefully, I can accomplish that with you guys. Get my new family going. I furthered my degree at Western Governors University in healthcare management. It's unfortunate that I left there, resigned there, just because I was kind of moving up a little bit, going to lead type, administrative type stuff. But I felt it was kind of. Cedars-Sinai had just purchased that hospital, and so things were changing, and I just felt that it was time to move on. And I was part-time faculty here in 2016 in the fall, so I've been part-time for a little bit. Now I'm full-time, so I'm fortunate to be here with you guys. Hopefully I can learn different methods of teaching through this Learning Academy and from you guys. Passion, I like to play music. I love music. I play with some of my friends. I guess you can say I'm kind of like in a boy band, I guess. I play bass with them. I'm doing the motion already. I like to play guitar. I think guitar is one of my favorite instruments, but I let my friend take on that role. A little bit of drums. Piano, not so much. My hands can't really work that way, I guess. I'm not that good at typing either. But bass and guitar are my main instruments. And so that's what I'm really passionate about. I've been married for 8 years. We have our little doggy. We don't have any kids. Our doggy is like our little baby. Well, at least to my wife it is. I love him too. We're looking to get another dog. So that's our little passion. We can leave him home alone. We can't let the baby home alone. So we like to vacation, go on cruises, so on and so forth. We like to travel, Palm Springs, just in the SoCal area. So that's my story. Hope to get to know more of you.